Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on The Merchant of Venice, and today we get to hear from one of the guys whose names starts with S. In most versions, he's Salerio. In the folio, at least in the beginning of the folio, he was Salerio, unless these are supposed to be different characters that all got like smushed together into one at some point, or something along those lines. But anyway, we'll pretend that it's Salerio that we're hearing from today in Act 3, Scene 2, which is a nice long scene that has started out very lovely. We had Portia not wanting Bassanio to leave so soon. She wanted him to delay choosing a box for fear that he'd choose the wrong one and then she'd never be able to see him again. But hooray, he picked the right box, which was the lead box, because you shouldn't be fooled by pretty things. And we also learned that Graziano and Nerissa were like over on the sidelines falling in love, so we're planning a double wedding. But then Lorenzo and Jessica and Salerio come in, and they have a letter for Bassanio from Antonio, which when Bassanio started reading it, he just lost it. His jaw hit the floor. He went totally pale. And Portia was like, "What's up?" And Bassanio admitted that he literally had no money and was only able to come and woo her because he had borrowed money from his friend Antonio, who had to borrow it from Shylock. And now it appears that none of Antonio's ships have come back. And at the end of yesterday's monologue, Antonio was like, "You're sure? None of the ship, not even the ship from England or the one from Lisbon, like none of the ships made it back? All of his ships got wrecked at sea? There's not one that's still intact?" And Salerio, or Salerino, responds, "Not one, my lord. Besides, it should appear that if he had the present money to discharge the Jew, he would not take it. Never did I know a creature that did bear the shape of man, so keen and greedy to confound a man. He plies the Duke at morning and at night, and doth impeach the freedom of the state if they deny him justice. 20 merchants, the Duke himself and the Magnificos of greatest port, have all persuaded with him, but none can drive him from the envious plea of forfeiture of justice and his bond." So it's mostly an expository monologue, and what he's saying here is that he's confirming, first of all, that all of Antonio's ships were wrecked, so Antonio will not be able to pay Shylock back. But then he takes it a step further and says that he's even heard that even if Antonio did have the money to pay Shylock back, Shylock would rather take the pound of flesh. And Shylock has been talking to the Duke, he's been talking to all sorts of other people, saying, you know, he's going to take action unless they give him this pound of flesh. And 20 merchants, the Duke and this band of Magnificos, who are like, you know, people who hang around the port and know stuff, they have all tried to talk Shylock into accepting money, and Shylock is like, "No, I want my pound of flesh. I want my pound of flesh." And once this monologue is over, Jessica chimes in and she's like, "Actually, yeah, I overheard him talking to a couple of his friends, and he would rather have the bond. He would rather take the pound of flesh than the money." And Portia's like, "Wait a second, Bassanio, this is your friend?" And Bassanio's like, "Yeah, and this is all my fault." And Portia's like, "Well, how much does he owe?" Because remember, Portia's rich. She's like, "How much does he owe?" And Bassanio's like, 3,000 ducats. And Portia's like, "Tomorrow's monologue. We'll get to hear what she has to say in tomorrow's monologue. I will see you then for that."